paper. So, oh, it was. Okay, I'm going to start over, or fresh start.
Start over.
Yeah.
Let's give you a start over.
There.
Hello, and welcome to Self-Care and EAP, hosted by Ryan Heck and Agnes Barstow. I am Nick Caputo, your moderator. Your microphone should be muted. You can unmute during this one. It's not like the other ones where we force you to be silent, but we would ask you to be muted for this. We'll be using the chat as Q&A, so please put your questions in the chat, and either one of the presenters or I will get to them and answer them there or audibly. If we have more time at the end, we'll have time at the end for additional questions. Thank you, and here is Agnes and Ryan.
Cool. Awesome. So I do want to just, I feel like every moment we get, and as Parks, it's always true, there's always a teachable moment on a couple of things. So before we jump into this, I do want to do two quick teachable moments with everybody. When you're using Microsoft Teams, before you hit join the meeting, you have the option to have your camera on or off. And then you can also have the option to have your microphone on or off. So before you jump into meetings going forward, it's always a good thing to turn your camera on before you hit the join button and turn your microphone off. Small little thing, but just something I want to throw out there to folks. Additional kind of cool teachable moment that I thought would be good to share with everybody is I'm wondering how many of you are wondering where and how to access the chat again, because there's been a lot of things that probably were dropped into the chat. And if anybody's playing any sort of bingo as the things that have been said during training, like I'm going to put it in the chat, you just got a point for that. So I wanted to mention, if you go back to the schedule that Rob had initially sent out that has a listing of all the classes, just click on the link again, and you basically go back into that meeting. And when you go back into that meeting, you're going to be sitting there, you're going to have the screen, it's going to be looking just at you. You can go and click on the chat as if you were in the meeting still, click on it, and then you'll pull up the chat. So if there's any resources that you missed, just go back to the PDF that Rob had, and then you just want to click on that, and then you'll be able to get in. So just wanted to throw that out there to everybody.
Yeah.
Just as a reminder, sorry, I don't want to try. Here we go. I'm going to just remind everybody to hit the mute button on your computer. If you could, please, that'd be awesome.
Yourself, people.
Nick, I need you to monitor.
Yes, I'll go to people. Then I can't.
Like, Nick, can you monitor?
Somebody else will have to monitor the chat.
All right.
I'll monitor.
I'm going to mute everybody and unmute Ryan and I.
You have to unmute yourself, Agnes.
There we go. Okay. I have been unmuted. Brian's unmuted. Everybody else is muted, correct? Nick, you're good. You're there. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. So wanted to give everybody a little bit of an update on that workable, teachable moment first. And now what we're going to do is we're going to jump in to the feature presentation, which is EAP and self-care. And let me just pull this up. And if anybody else is playing bingo, here's a point for saying, let me load this up. And if you would like a bingo score sheet, I have some available. I can drop them in the chat. And let me know, this is a new layout. So let me know if and when you see it. My computer's been a little slow today, and hopefully it should load up. Cool. You can see it. Okay. Yes. Interesting. I can't see it on my end. Oh, it's loading slowly. Sorry. This is the joy of Vermont. And some of you may have these moments in parks waiting for a spirit to load. And I apologize. I don't know what it is. Let's see. It's loading. This is painful. I would like to tell you a joke right now, but I'm not going to, because there we go. Cool. All right. So this is my intro. So again, my name is Agnes Barslow. With today, it's going to be myself and Ryan Heck. We're just going to basically, the goal of this training is to, one, teach you all some new skill sets. It's always important to do. Number two, we want to get everybody kind of blissed out because it's probably been a long day. Number three, we want to do some resource sharing. And then most importantly, we want to end this training day on a high note for all of you. So before we jump into this session, I wanted to take a second and check in with everybody, because I think it's really important for us to be real and understand that you are all a bunch of folks that have interest in working outside, and yet we've had you sitting inside behind a computer all day. So I am sure that there are some of you who feel like your eyes are going to fall out, or perhaps some of you are chomping at the bit because you want to get out into the parks, check it out for the first time, or for those of you who are returning, you probably want to get out and see what happened to the park while you're away this summer. So either way, I want to take a minute and I want everybody to kind of assess where you are right now, kind of get a feeling for how you're doing and do a check-in. It's been a long day. Well, at least I know it's been for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. And I want you all, if folks have been able to figure out how to do this, while you're on Teams, I want you to pull up Safari or pull up some, if it's on your phone even, and I want you to type in www.menti, MENTI.com. And when you pull that up, a little website is going to come up and it's going to ask for a code. And when you're ready, let me know and I will give you the code. All right. I'm going to stop sharing here. I've got like a weird lag on everything, so I apologize, everybody. This is going to be a little clunky on my end. Okay, folks are starting to feel like they're doing good. Okay, cool. All right, I gotta get this to stop. Yeah. Okay. The website again is Menti, MENTI.com. Okay, all right, now I'm gonna give you the code. And when I give you the code, it's gonna give you a prompt, and I want you to write, as once I give you this, once I give you this prompt, I want you to write down in one word how you are feeling, or actually you could do it in multiple words. You should be able to get 3 choices. And let me make sure, are you seeing my screen now popping up as a thing that says, how are you feeling right now? Anybody seeing that? Let me do this. I'm going to click here. I'm going to give you the code. Sorry, this is a little clunky, but what do? We make do with what we can do. All right. So hopefully you should see my screen now. All right. So the code is 64964645. You get it, 64964645. And Nick, maybe if you could chuck it in the chat, that would be awesome. So as you enter in that code, you can take, you should get a little screen that pops up, and I want you to put in 3 different words of how you are feeling right now. And hopefully this should show. Here they come. This is how people are feeling right now. Sluggish, excited, tired, lucky, meh. We got a meh, curious, hopeful, anxious, discouraged, lucky, sleepy, congested. I hear you on that. Sluggish, ready to get moving, playful, optimistic, good, hungry, bored. Who's bored? Playful, overwhelmed, stressed. Okay, great, overcaffeinated. Whoa, look at all of these words that are popping up. This is how everybody is feeling right now. I'm seeing a lot of excited. How this works is as the words come through and populate, if there's ones that repeat, they end up being a little bit bigger. So it looks like we got a lot of maybe some excited, tired, and anxious people. Anticipation, ants in my pants. I want to leave my room. No more computers, stressing, hungry for grass, patient. Oh yeah, these are apprehensive, And I just want to take a moment. I know you all have a lot going on today, but I really think it's important for us to kind of look at where everybody's at right now. Somebody's got a headache. Somebody's got glassy eyes. Oh man, there's a lot of emotions going on here. Someone needs some mental health help. Somebody's ready to go back to work, worried. I didn't know that. I didn't know how all you all were feeling. And I'm super, super grateful that you all shared this. So these are just a couple of things, and this is a good chance for us to kind of stop, take inventory of where everybody's at and be like, all right, people are coming in right now at a bunch of different places. So cool. Awesome. Thanks for that exercise. I appreciate that. And now I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint, which hopefully should load. And again, I apologize if this thing is taking a bit. But there was a big range of words on there. There was a good mix. Definitely seemed like there was a mix of emotions. Maidstone, I'm sorry that it didn't end up working for you. I'm not sure. So Ryan, I'll now kick it over to you.
Great, thanks, Agnes. So, what we just did was we all just kind of checked in with ourselves and a little bit with each other. And that's a great practice of just being aware of where we all are and us as individuals. Taking the moment to actually take a look at what you're experiencing is the first part of kind of noticing where you guys are. And it's so important that you periodically check in with yourselves, and you can also do it with your staff as managers and assistant managers. Just getting a gist of where people are at. Are people fatigued? Are people anxious? Are people happy and just kind of bouncing around their day? But it's so important to not just check in with ourselves, but also our staff, because people often don't communicate where they're at. And just formally taking the time, it can also be viewed as a support. Maybe even just being looked at, wow, my manager actually really cares about how I'm doing and how my day's going. And, am I being overwhelmed or am I frustrated about something? So it's really important to just check in with ourselves and our staff. And that was just a great example of how simply it can be done.
Cool. So next up, Ryan's going to teach us some pretty cool self-care techniques and practices, which I am looking forward to learning all these things too. So here we go.
So, practices with self-care, it really starts about just make sure that we're functioning as best as we can in a kind of a healthy spot. So I'm going to go over a couple different skills and give you guys some education about just how we can respond to different techniques that we can use to help alleviate some of the things that came up while we shared where we're at. Anxiety, overwhelmed, or anxious, I guess would be the better word. You experience anxiety, but all these different things can affect our day. So just to start, I'm going to talk about a little bit about diaphragmatic breathing, often known as belly breathing. And what this often can do is it can help us shift between the sympathetic state and the parasympathetic state. So the parasympathetic state is our calming state. It's kind of where we recharge. It's where our body allows ourselves to kind of get grounded. And throughout our day, we can shift between the parasympathetic state and the sympathetic state. And the easiest way to describe the sympathetic state is that high state of arousal where we often use the term fight or flight state. It's kind of a high stressed, elevated blood pressure. And at times we do need to access that part of the nervous system. But the trick is, how do we shift out of that? How do we bring ourselves back to that parasympathetic state where we relax, our blood pressure goes down, our heart rate reduces. We actually feel physical symptoms of the parasympathetic state. We can notice decrease in tension, or Often, some people that clench their fists may notice that that might not be as tight. So the sympathetic state, it really prepares the body for any potential danger, stress. And what it does is it shortens the neuron pathways, which of course leads to a faster response. When we're in that sympathetic state, sometimes we're talking a little faster, seem anxious, maybe a little jittery. And that sympathetic state can also trickle out onto the people we work with, as well as our customers. You could notice an increase in heartbeat, muscle tenses up, pupils tend to dilate. All that stuff is related to the sympathetic state. And the parasympathetic state is kind of trying to shift us back into that rest response or that recharge. And ideally shifting into just a calming state, both mentally and physically. We're going to notice a reduced heart rate. Our muscles are going to relax. We might not be as jumpy. So when we look at belly breathing or diaphragmatic breathing, we're actually going to be kind of breathing down into our belly. So if you guys can imagine what a set of lungs look like, they tend to be a little smaller at the top and bigger at the bottom. And then when you look at how the rib cage is, well, tighter up top, bigger at the bottom. So what we're going to do, and if you guys are comfortable with this, you can choose to do it with your eyes open or your eyes closed. You may just want to put one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly. Just make sure that you're sitting up in your chair right, your feet are grounded. And what you really want to do is just slowly pull that breath all the way down into our belly. And what we want to do is we want to feel the rise and fall of our belly and not our chest. And sometimes to kind of get into the motion of that, as we inhale in, it's okay to push that belly out and just create that room for that breath. So just take a few moments and just allow the rise and fall of your belly to just kind of go up and down. And just continue following that belly, just rising up and down. You may even notice some funny thoughts that are coming about it. And just notice those and let them go, and just try to bring your attention back to your breath. And if you notice you're breathing more in the chest, just try to shift your breath down into the belly, just allowing it to expand and contract. Now, if you guys would, this was a very condensed kind of example of this, but just take a moment if you guys want and throw just a comment in the chat of just your experience with this. I'll give you guys a moment to do that, and I'll just follow up with a little information about what we just did. So what belly breathing is it's an evidence-based approach to regulating ourselves, which means there's research that goes in and evidence that says, yes, this actually does that. It allows us to shift between the parasympathetic and sympathetic state. And this is used in a variety of different mindfulness programs. But where I've actually been exposed to this is I used to teach it to firefighters, police officers, and veterans, because they're often constantly shifting between that parasympathetic state and the sympathetic state. And sometimes the body just gets so accustomed to being in that parasympathetic state, that high speed, low drag, do, or, fight or flight response. Having that tool to be able to shift back out of it when you don't need to be in that heightened state of arousal. This is a tool that you guys can use anywhere, whether you're in the contact station, in your homes, even taking a walk. This is a tool that can go anywhere with you guys. But coming back to self-care, and just kind of doing a quick Google search last night, some of the main things that came up right off the bat with self-care are healthy eating, physical fitness and immunity, reducing stress, time management, relaxation and mindfulness skills, avoiding compassion fatigue, which is a huge one, assertiveness, and just being good to yourself. So those are all things we should kind of take a look at when we're thinking about self-care. And some other skills that you guys can use, we have one of the greatest tools out there right outside of a lot of your homes, and that's nature and the parks. And there's a variety of other things that you guys can do versus the belly breathing. Nature provides some of the best self-care opportunities, and simply going down to a stream or taking a walk in the woods and just allowing yourself to be grounded by nature. If you're going down by a stream or taking a walk in the woods, just finding a place to sit down and doing a grounding exercise. And simply doing this, if you're comfortable, you can just close your eyes out there. And if you're not comfortable with your eyes closed, just allowing your gaze to be soft and unfocused. And just allowing your senses to ground you. Just take a moment and notice what you're hearing. Also noticing what you're smelling. And noticing any places where your body's coming into contact with something you're sitting on, or even just the ground. And just noticing any sensations that you're experiencing. All this stuff you can do anywhere. And the longer that you do it, the more you're going to start to notice and the more you're going to benefit from it. So like belly breathing, research suggests if you spend 4 or 5 minutes 5 or 6 times a day, the long-term implications of your actual physical health will improve. And there's tons of research to suggest it. So with any practice, just like learning equipment, learning a sport, it takes practice and it takes dedicated time. So the main point is to just let go when we're not working. Take time to get off out of the park or even out of the contact station and just try to engage in something healthy and meaningful. And self-care is not easy because it's often one of the things we skip past the most. We budget time for meetings, doctor's appointments, hair appointments, dinner outings, but we also have to schedule in time for ourselves. And that's often, I know I personally, if I plan on going for a run after work and one of my park needs me, I tend to sacrifice myself and not circle around to doing that run later. So It's important to schedule time for yourselves when you're looking at your own health, and not just physical health, but mental health. So block out some time for wellness and recreation for yourselves. Agnes?
All right, good. That unmuted quickly. I'm feeling very zen right now. This is a good thing. Thanks, Ryan, for sharing that. That was wonderful. So kind of switching gears a bit, feeling a little too relaxed. That's a just a couple of minutes of breathing. That's a beautiful thing. So wanted to also share with you the one I think this was a really good start off to talk about, our body awareness. Which leads me into three very simple things that I want to make sure to drive home. And these, you might be thinking, I cannot believe this is something that is part of training, but I have to say, this is going to be part of your training because it is something that's really critically important. So some other self-care acts that we definitely wanted to point out to you there are things that are, like I said, they're obvious. We want you to drink water. I know that sounds wild, but I can't tell you how many times I have gone into a park, into a contact station, and heard a manager ask their staff if they had water. Additionally, I can't tell you how many times I've seen signs in contact stations or break rooms that managers have put up that say, drink water. I can't tell you how many times I've seen whiteboards where the weather's written on the outside of a contact station that says it's going to be hot, make sure to drink your water. Similar to, what Ryan just said, we easily forget to take care of ourselves because we're going to be worried about our staff making sure that they're drinking water, and let alone not making sure that we're drinking water. It sounds like such a simple thing, but I just really want to encourage all of you. If you get a chance, put a Post-it note on your mirror that says drink more water. If it's in the bathroom in the contact station, have it say drink more water. Our bodies are comprised of 60% water. So just a fun little fact, if you have any sort of mild dehydration, so 1 to 3%, it can impair your mood, it can impair your energy level, it can have reduction in your brain function and also memory. So it's important to make sure to stay hydrated. Additionally, water helps your entire overall system, your nervous system, and the functions improve. So, there's the handful of people that wrote down that they're feeling anxious. So if you're feeling anxious or if you're feeling, any sort of worry, water can help with that. And it sounds like a simple thing, but it is the honest to God scientifically proven that water can help with that. So right now I'm going to take a break and I'm going to pause. And if you have a glass of water or if you have a water bottle, this is nuts. We're going to take 2 seconds and everybody grab your water and take a sip of water because it'll help you get through the rest of the day. And your brain's probably been processing a lot. That was refreshing. Okay, cool. So the next thing we want to make sure that folks are conscientious of in regards to self-care is when working outside, we work in the elements and it can get hot. And the weather trends have shown that summers in Vermont are getting hotter and hotter. And our summer season is extended by 3 weeks, both at the beginning, it's starting 2 to 3 weeks earlier, and it's ending 2 to 3 weeks earlier. So we've seen weather stretches like we have never seen before. And it's been hot. For those of you who are returning, I am sure that you can remember a hot stretch last summer, or if there's folks that have worked for us for many years, every summer there's always that kind of mental indicator of when we had a heat wave, or days that, built up to a heat wave. So I want to make sure to emphasize to folks that part of self-care and part of taking care of yourself is also part of helping with your crew and making sure that they stay cool, making sure that you stay cool as well. So this winter in the off season, we did come up with a kind of a heat advisory plan. There's more information about it in the park manager manual that can be found on the staff website, which is vtstateparks.com/staff. In the manual, we have information about what to do during, any sort of heat advisories. But the long and the short is we wanted to take a minute to say to everybody that it's okay to slow down when it's hot outside. I've gone into parks when it's 90 degrees and I've seen people running weed whackers. And it just, ooh, I get chills seeing it. So make sure to manage in a way that, you're able, yeah, you want to be able to get things done, but also we understand that, if it's really hot outside, the weed whacking might not happen. It may take a little bit for weed whacking to happen. So just wanted to make sure to keep in mind, staying cool. We encourage folks, if you're at a park that's on the water, to take a dip on a break, and we encourage you to have your staff do the same. Any park that I've worked at that's on the water, I always would tell my staff, like, yeah, you should have a pair of pants for when you're weed whacking, and then have a swimsuit just in case it gets too hot. So please make sure to keep care of yourself, and, find little ways that you can have your staff cool down, whether it be sweeping out the garage, washing the swim buoys is a great example. Any sort of techniques that you can have to make sure that people stay cool. There are some really great apps out there for heat advisories. There is one in particular that's just called, it's Heat Index app. And that app, if you download it onto your phone, could be really helpful for you to figure out, what the heat index is going to be for the day. And it may help you plan your schedule accordingly with your staff. Then lastly, sounds like a simple thing. I don't want to sound like Marie Kondo, but I'm going to sound like Marie Kondo for any of you who are familiar with her. Just making sure to find joy in your work. That's a really important thing. And there are things that you'll do that you love. And there are maybe things that are part of the work that you personally might not like so much. I love to clean toilets and I love to clean sites. So in my workday, if I was feeling overwhelmed, what I would try to do is, hop out of the office and try to get some time cleaning the toilets, because that brought me a ton of joy. So highly suggest that you make sure that you engage, in the work that brings you joy, what makes you really happy, because if you are feeling better about your work, then ultimately the rest of your staff will see this as well. So interesting fact, digging around, 65% of employees are satisfied. This is some, statistic I found from Forbes. 65% of employees are satisfied with their jobs, and 20% of them are passionate about the jobs. So I would like to think in my heart of heart that all of you are in that 20%. So if you're not in that 20%, if you're just satisfied, we want to try to give you the resources to get you into that 20% where you're passionate, and hopefully you are passionate. So I'm going to skip over to the next bit. We want to share resources with you. We want to get you into that 20% of people who are passionate about their work, and we want to give you some resources that can help all of you kind of stay on courses somewhere. I think it's really important for us to also acknowledge that the past 2 years, and forgive me, I've got to bring it up, have been really hard because of COVID. That's a fun dinner party game, by the way, if you can time how long it takes before somebody brings up COVID. But I brought it up. So it's important to recognize that the past 2 years have been exceptionally hard. It's been really, really hard for folks. So there's some studies that have gone out, human behavior studies, and I found one in particular that said that as it stands right now, 94% of people in the workforce right now are stressed, have a baseline stressed. And research shows, which I think we can all agree is probably the case, that 2020 was the most stressful year ever. Additionally, 78% of people that were polled in this felt that COVID had severely affected their mental health. 40% feel that they're making flawed decisions. And then 90% concluded that newfound work-related stress affected their home life. So that's an important number, that almost everybody felt like work was affecting their home lives. So a culmination of this with COVID, with surges, with all the changes and everything, there's been a huge shift in folks in mental health. There's unprecedented levels of depression. It's up 53%. Anxiety is up 55%, and PTSD is up 32%. So we as employers and as humans, we want to let you know that we care about you, and we want to make sure, again, that we have resources available to you. So We're going to go over some quick resources. One of them is EAP. Look at this. I learned a new thing on. I can highlight it. We're going to talk about CAPS, the Center for Achievement in Public Service, talking about your supervisor. That's a heart. And then about each other as resources. Yay, cool. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing this screen, and I'm going to give you a quick tour of what it looks like over in EAP. And again, if you have bingo playing, if anybody's playing bingo, you probably will get some points for this. All right. So, all right, EAP. What is EAP? Does anybody know what EAP stands for? I'll just say it out loud. It stands for Employee Assistance Program. So we have, the state of Vermont has a contract with a company called Invest EAP. With our contract, you all have access to an amazing amount of resources. This is the EAP website, and I'm just going to kind of give you a quick 1-2 of this, and I will also add my next slide has the login information for you so you can get onto this website. I have utilized EAP in the past, and it was extremely helpful. I've utilized it for personal things because that's an option, but I've also utilized it professionally. So as you go through, you will see EAP, this Employee Assistance Program. They can help you out with a myriad of things. Number one, this website, they have self-assessments. They have information on how to work with family. You might have some aging parents. You may have kids. So there's a myriad of assets available for there, or resources available for help there. There's also mental health. And these are basically, let's look at stress. These are just kind of some overviews. It's just kind of a great resource for folks to tap into, this website as a whole. And then let me see here where I am. They also can help out with legal assistance. Workplace, if you have something that comes up and you feel like you kind of need a sounding board, they can work with you there if you feel like there's some sort of HR issue. Health, all the range from Alzheimer's to flu to heart disease, lungs, meditation, 20 minutes a day, nutrition, smoking cessation, newsletters, benefits. And then there's this cool website at the end, which is stress, and it's My Stress Tools. If you have a chance, definitely look into this. It's a really cool, you can do an assessment. The stress profiler is pretty interesting. So they have a bunch of really great resources that are on this website. Why are we showing you this? Well, sure, I'm not just showing you a really cool website. I also want you to know that there are one of the best perks of EAP is that they are able to provide counseling services if you feel that you need counseling services. They cannot be a counselor in the sense that if you are needing, a therapist for an extended period of time, but they will meet with you, and they can also help you find a counselor if you feel like you need, somebody to talk to. I understand that it is maybe some of you who have sought out mental health resources or help, it's a tough market, for lack of better words, right now. But the folks at EAP, at Invest, are able to give you a really great list of resources available. They also are there for the event if something unexpected may happen in the park. Things like that do happen. They've happened for probably quite a few of you that are here today. Hopefully none of them happen this summer, but sometimes there are things that happen in a park that you're like, I really could use to talk to somebody. It may be a death happens, or it may be a really difficult visitor interaction. Unexpected things do happen in parks because we're out in the public arena, and EAP is there as a resource for you to reach out to and just kind of have in your back pocket. So just know that they are there. They also have a series of classes. I would encourage you all to sign up for their newsletter. I'm not going to sign you up for their newsletter, but I would encourage you to do so because some of the classes are really great. So highly recommend doing that. And then let me see here. I'm going to pull up my thing again. Actually, you know what I might do? Ryan, if you have This is just there's a weird lag in mine.
Agnes,
Yeah.
Ryan's computer died. He's not on the meeting right now.
Oh, no, wait. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I got this.
sorry.
Okay, I've got this. So next up, the next thing I want to show you is caps. This is awesome. Give me 1 second, you all. I want you to think about your favorite wildflower while I'm looking this up. Give me 1 second.
While she's pulling that up, I'd recommend you check out the comment from Stillwater too, because that was a great EAP did a great job going down in a group debrief after a suicide at the park, and it was tragic. And we also did that at Little River when there was a suicide there as well. So yeah, the EAPs come in handy a lot.
Awesome. Thank you to whomever posted that phone number in the chat. That's awesome. And I'll post the login as well too. I have a slide with the login info. And I will get that for you in just a minute. I'll show that to you. So I'm going to show you, I just pulled it up. I'll say anecdotally, I used EAP after we had a death at the park, and it was a tremendous resource. And I felt really, really lucky to have it. So understandable. All right, cool. Here we go. So this is a new thing for you new staff. This is completely new to you. For our returning managers, this is a very new and exciting thing. So we now have access to the State of Vermont Learning Management System, also known as the Center for Academic and Professional Services, I think it's what it's called, also known as CAPS. This is where a lot of your mandatory trainings are going to be. So if you go on to the staff website, which is vtstateparks.com/staff, there's a link that you'll click on it. That's for a link for required trainings. And when you click on that, you're basically going to be shot to a PDF that shows you how to log into CAPS. Everybody's going to be logging into CAPS now. So I'm going to go in. I don't know what I have loaded up. You'll see what all I've been working on lately, everybody. But within CAPS, there are a series of different videos that are available for you all to access. Can everybody see this? My page?
Yes.
Hopefully. Okay, sweet. So this is really cool. In CAPS, this is like probably the coolest thing going on. So I can right now, meditation. I can type in meditation in CAPS, and there are lists of classes about meditation. And Deepak Chopra is there. There's a whole meditation series, kind of the same things that Ryan did. So you could, instead of having to dig around on YouTube, you can go in and utilize CAPS as a place to find things for you and your staff. So that's a thing that's going to help with your stress level, is, maybe learning a new skill. Like Ryan said, you got to practice makes perfect. Like learning equipment, you got to keep on, learning. Maybe there's something that's causing you stress. Like maybe you're having conflict management with your staff. Say there's, some sort of challenge that arose, and you're like, I feel like I know what I'm doing, but maybe I could brush up. And yeah, sure, there are some things that a class can teach you, but maybe not everything. There's conflict management skills. And these are videos that are really manageable. 4 minutes, 6 minutes. These are things you could have kind of going in the background if you're in the contact station and it's a quiet day. You could watch all sorts of videos. And there's neat ones like verbal de-escalation. That's an amazing thing. It's 16 hours long, but if you want to get into it, you can. There's conflict resolution. Myriad of classes in here. I could look up a class right now on somebody, Nix, give me a subject out loud, or Rob, or somebody who can hit their unmute button really quick, and let's see if CAPS has a class.
How about mindfulness?
Mindfulness.
Is that Ryan? Did he get back on?
I got
Ryan's
back
back.
after impromptu computer reboot.
And here is, we've got a whole list of classes. Look at this. John Sabat-Zinn at Google. Mindfulness with him. So there's a whole series of classes that are available on CAPS. And we want to show this to you because not only is it going to be great for your health, your own self-care, if you can find a class that's helpful for you, but there's also tools in here that can hopefully reduce stress. There's how to schedule. There's just a myriad of classes available on the CAPS class. And again, I will get a screen up that will have the logins for that as well too. And let me just share this again. Bear with me. I hope everybody's doing okay. Maybe take a second and do another deep breath. And
Agnes, while you're finishing that, I'd like to just plug another resource for them. So when you were going through the mindfulness videos, you guys noticed John Kabat-Zinn. He helped found the Center for Mindfulness at UMass, where they focus on MBSR, which is mindfulness-based stress reduction. There is a wealth of information from them, very friendly for beginners. It also gets into some of the evidence of what you hope to achieve from practicing mindfulness as well.
So grab a pen and pencil. I will chuck this in the chat as well too, but EAP, the web address is invest.eap.org. The login, you create your own unique login and password. But the thing that's tricky is you need an organization password. Our organization password is pretty complex. It's VTEAP. So nothing too nutty, but that's what our login is, and you'll need that. Then we have CAPS. This is a cool one. So your login, and this is on, you can find this on the staff website. Your login is your employee ID number, which some of you may not have yours yet, and you'll be getting it soon. Don't worry, we'll have it. It's part of our HR onboarding. It always takes a minute for us to get those. As soon as we get it, we'll email it to you. So you put in your user ID number as your employee ID, and then the password is this funny little sequence here of 4s being A's. And again, I'll put this in the chat for everybody too. Cool. So then the next resource we want to talk about is your supervisor. Ryan, do you want to jump from here?
Sure. It's important to be able to communicate with your supervisor and reaching out and letting them know where they are, where you guys are, so we can best support you guys. There's nothing wrong with saying, I put in X amount of hours this week and, I'm running ragged and I'm tired and I'm not sleeping. Communication is huge, both just for us on the regional level, but also communication with your attendants too. So that's why just checking in with people and finding out where they are so you can best support them in the same way as we want to best support you guys. And that starts with communication.
And then the next note, Ryan, did I cut you off?
No, you're good.
No, okay, cool. All right. And then the next note is one of the most important thing that you have is each other. I can't tell you how much I have appreciated when I was a manager, my other fellow managers. It is always nice you have iPhones, shoot each other a text, start a thread. I know if you're over in Region 3, the best region in all the state, we had the most epic text thread going last year. So shoot a thread or shoot a text, say hi to somebody like, yeah, you all are virtual right now, but maybe introduce yourself, put yourself out there. And you've got your staff. They're a great resource for you if you need help. And being honest and candid, like Ryan said, is really helpful. But also reaching out to neighboring parks, they are sometimes your best resources. Or if, say there's a manager that's in your region that's been around forever, give them a call and be like, hey, what's the story with this? Help me out with this. So reach out to everybody. Like, we don't want you to feel like you're isolated and, at the park and you're just there. Really, the parks, we're all in this together. And I know that might sound really cheesy, but really Parks is one big family unit and we have to really act cooperatively. And it's really nice when that does happen. So just definitely want to encourage everybody to reach out to a neighboring park, or maybe even a park in another region. Like, hey, what's the story with this? How does that work? Blah, blah. It's good to just kind of have that communication all around. So we're at the time marker. I don't want to keep you longer because I know, again, people are chomping at the bit, but I do want to take 1 minute to do something really important. If you have a pen and paper, I want you to write down in a very short, quick not even sentence, like one word that's an intention that you have for the summer, because I think it's important to note that intentions, they're roadblocks for us. They're reminders about how we're going to live out each day. So I would love it if you could write down a word that's an intention for you on a piece of paper. And I want you to keep that piece of paper all summer. And if you are feeling bold, I would love it if you wanted to share your word or your intentions in the chat, because I think it would be really wonderful to see that. We want to blow up the chat, and we're going to just take 2 more minutes. I'm so sorry. Just kind of keep an eye on it. Fun, nice. Good job, DAR. All right, patience. Somebody wrote fun, patience. Somebody, I think, growth, exceptional, awesome. Find peace in myself, learn and grow. Oh, poor Wilgus can't access BTHR. Work hard, but have fun. Thank you. Yes, smiles all the way. Realistic expectations. That's huge. Good on you for recognizing that. Impact, movement. Yay. Hip, hip, hooray. Understanding. Growth relationships. This is sweet. This is awesome. All right, now I want all the returning managers. This is going to take 12 parks, Rob Peterson. I want to take 1 second, and I'm hoping all of our returning staff can write down one quick thing that you have found to be really helpful as a manager for your health and wellness, whether it be camping at another park on your day off, whether it be going and visiting one of the best parks in the state, maybe Sandbar being it, or maybe it's checking out anywhere. So I would love it if any of our returning managers can write down one little tip that they'd like to share on how everybody can maximize their summers. Getting out for a hike or a paddle. Thank you. That's a good one. And you all get free access to boats, which is great. Awesome perk. Split shift naps. Excellent. Take frequent and short walks. Visit a park you've never been to. That is the best one. Take nothing personally. Give your all to a season. Paddle, bike race, bum at Killington, hike with my dog. Awesome. Find a spot in a park. Enjoy your park, what your park offers. Relax at Sandbar. No, you're not alone. Oh, Jamaica. Eat creamies. Yeah, Virgin Island. These are awesome. So just want to take this with, just take these thoughts with you all, at putting out this, this idea of an intention. Because again, I think that you all are the 20%. You're the people that are inspired. You are the people that are into this, and we are incredibly lucky to have you. So that is the end of our training. I will put all this login info in the chat, which I've been kind of monitoring, but not so great. Take care of yourselves. Do some deep breathing exercises tonight. Be kind to each other. We're all in this together, and we really appreciate all of you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope tomorrow is a great day, and thank you for such a good long day. Now get outside. It's gorgeous out. Take care, everybody.
Guys, thanks for taking the time.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow for the first class at 9 o'clock. Take care.